welcome to Coach's Corner. My name is Brian Fuller. I'm the Associate Athletic Director at McDowell High School. Joined today by Eric Hansen, member of our boys varsity basketball team, and Lindsay Oberacker, member of our girls varsity basketball team. Before we get to our guests, just some news out of the athletic office. I want to send out a congratulations to our boys basketball team for clinching at least a tie for the region title, but they did lock up the #1 seed for playoffs, and we'll talk with Eric a little bit on what that means here in a few seconds. They're currently at 14-4 with 4 remaining games coming up here soon, and a big region game with George Jr. tonight. Then they have Warren for senior night prep, and then they'll end the season with Franklin. Also, congratulations to our girls basketball team. They're currently 17-2, and they locked up again a tie for the region title and also the #1 seed. And we'll talk with Lindsay on what that means for the girls program. For our girls swim team, last night they had a big night. They defeated Central. They remained undefeated at 15-0 and 3-0 in the region, but they set a new McDowell pool record in the 400 freestyle. Kelsey Ferrani, Kelsey Herbst, Sarah Anderson, and Jackie Zimick just set the new record at 3 minutes 37.9 seconds. So it was an exciting night for the girls swim team. Now we'll get to our guests. First with Eric and the boys basketball team. I've been talking before the show started here about how you two are probably maybe the only two that we can think of that are 3-sport athletes here at McDowell High School, with you playing golf, basketball, and boys baseball in the spring. Why do you think there are so few 3-sport athletes or even multiple sport athletes in McDowell?
There's like a couple reasons. The first being that a lot of the athletes try to just focus on one sport, try to get to college, and then get some scholarship for college. But a couple other reasons: school gets affected, and then there's no off season to prepare for your sports.
After going through 4 years of this, do you recommend multiple sports to kids? And with incoming freshmen, high school goes by so fast. I'm sure you guys now are thinking, "Holy smokes, I'm a senior already. This time next year, I'm going to be finishing my freshman year in college." It goes by so fast. You only get one turn at it. Do you recommend multiple sports after being through it for 4 years?
I think multiple sports is the best option because you get the best opportunity to go for a state championship, which is ultimately what we were working for in our sports.
And you get the rare chance of what General McLean did a few years ago, winning 2 in the same school year, which would be just a tremendous thing. And with multiple sports, how does one sport, the 3 you play, again, we said golf, basketball, baseball, does one lead into another? Does one maybe help you prepare for another? What things do you get out of golf that help you prepare for basketball and then for baseball?
Well, golf is a real mental game, so we get a lot of mental, just working around, getting just getting prepared. Basketball is more physical, so I need to get into the gym, work, get prepared, get my fatigue built up higher. But the mental part of the game really helps me because I can calm down, focus, and get prepared for the game that I have next.
Okay, you mentioned that grades come into play here. How are you able to play 3 sports for 4 years and still maintain your grades to the point where you are a scholar athlete here at McDowell?
A lot of hard work, and it's really hard, but I go home every day after school, have a couple hours worth of homework, and I just sit down right after dinner and get it done. But just a lot of hard work, studying, making sure I keep up with my classes that I miss for sports.
So if anything, it kind of forces you to have good time management skills. When you get your opportunity at home, like you said, a couple hours, instead of hitting the Nintendo Wii or even taking a nap, you got to get your grades and your schoolwork done first. Last week, had a huge game. First time in probably over 30 years that Cathedral Prep has come into our gym and played. Describe that experience. What was it like playing prep in our own gym? Normally we play at Cannon in a much bigger arena where it's not as intimate. This time you got a chance to play out of your own locker room, go through your own your normal routines, and maybe describe what it was like as a player. I know what it was like from a fan and from an administrator side of it, but as a player, what was it like playing in your own gym?
It was actually really exciting, very fun, new. First time in 30 years, you said. We had the same routines that we had for all the other games. It felt like a normal game until we saw who we were playing, and then we got up there. The crowd was closer. There were a lot more people. It felt like a lot more people. The closeness, and it was just an incredible environment to play in because we've never had it here.
And then, of course, obviously winning the game always helps.
That's always fun.
That's always nice to come out on top. We talked about that game a little bit. You were injured in that game. How are you feeling? And now that you've been out for about a week or so, how difficult is it to sit on the bench and kind of watch? Are you able to help the team at all during timeouts? And Colin Kimball stepped in your spot. Do you get a chance when he comes out to sit and talk to him at all, or are you just kind of off on your own, kind of just watching the game?
Well, right now I'm feeling all right, pretty much day to day, and I should be back soon. And with Colin, He's a real good player. We all have faith in him. He can do the exact same job or better that I can do. And he just comes in, plays, gets the job done. But I try to talk to him before the game, after the game, maybe see how he's feeling. But he's real good. His brothers all went through it, so he kind of has enough ability. We all know that, to play.
Okay. This past week we also had another big game in our gym. First time we ever played Strong Vincent in the gym in quite a long time. You guys were able to pull out, I believe, another 13-point win on that. With that victory, you guys locked up the #1 seed. We still have not locked up the region title yet, but with the head-to-heads, we will be the #1 seed. Maybe talk about why is that important for McDowell to be that #1 seed going into the playoffs. You know, the other three teams will be George Jr., Prep, and Vincent, and we'll have the #1 seed, so we'll most likely open up with George Jr. And what advantages do we have, because of that?
Well, I feel George Jr., that they're probably the weakest team out of the four. It'll be nice to start with them, kind of get a game under our belts in the tournament, and then Prep and Vincent will both one of them will be knocked out, and then we'll come and 2 teams from the district tourney go to the state tournament. And if we can lock up the #1 seed, we don't have a play-in game. So that would be very helpful.
So it's going to be nice. We'll, like you said, we'll get the 4 teams. George Jr. is still a good opponent, but they are probably the weakest of the 4. So if we can, not to look past them, but if we get by them, one of the 2 next strongest teams will be out with Prep or Vince, and one of them are going to knock each other out. And it gives you a chance to scout your first-round opponent. You'll be able to get down and watch that game. With the seeding being set, we ended the year February 14th with a big game versus Prep down at Gannon. Not that that game is meaningless, but it's not going to affect seeding at all. What will the team's approach be in that game?
Well, anytime we play Prep, we want to go out and get the W. I mean, they're our biggest rivals from across town. It doesn't really affect the region, but again, it would affect our overall record, and we always want to get the W against Prep.
And if with anything, being your last game of the year, you want to continue that momentum going into the playoffs, so you're obviously going to want a good showing that night. Speaking of momentum, do you think the team is playing their best right now, or do you guys have another gear that you plan on kicking it into once you get into the playoffs?
We're playing really well right now, but I don't think we're playing our best. With a couple more practices, a couple more games, I think we can get it up into another gear and really get into the playoffs rolling.
Okay, that leads into my last question for you then. Speaking of playoffs, how far is this team going to go?
Well, at the beginning of the season, we all said we wanted to get down to that state tournament, down to the state championship as well. And hopefully we can get there and get a W.
It'd be nice to get one game further than we got last year. Last year we lost that tough one at the buzzer. When that kid hit the shot that somehow went in at the buzzer. But wish the boys well the rest of the way here, and we'll certainly be out watching you guys and hopefully make a nice run at it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Some upcoming events for the boys. Can't read that. We have, like we talked about, George Jr. here Friday night. They'll be going down to play them in our second to last region game. Then we have Warren coming to town next Thursday on the 12th. That will be senior night, so please come out and support our senior basketball players. JV game at 6, varsity at 7:30. And then we have Cathedral Prep on Valentine's Day, so bring your sweetheart out and watch the game down at Gannon for that one. That actually will be a triple header. There'll be a freshman game, JV game, and a varsity game. And then we have, this night up there's a makeup game with Franklin. It will be at home on the 16th at McDowell. That'll be a 6-7:30 start there. And then our boys swimming team will be going to swim against Cathedral Prep on the 12th, Thursday the 12th. That meet will be at East, I believe. And then we also have our hockey team. They will be competing against Wheeling at the Civic Center at 8:15 on Thursday the 12th. So Thursday the 12th will be a big night for McDowell Athletics. Try to get out and support as many of the teams as we can. We also have our wrestlers. They will be going away and wrestling against St. Mary's at Clarion University at 3 o'clock on the 13th, Friday the 13th. They'll be heading down for that. And our indoor track team will be at the Slippery Rock University on the 14th for an indoor meet there as well. So we got a lot of action coming up for our boys teams. Again, try to get out and support as many as you can. And with that said, let's turn it to our girls programs. Now we're joined here with Lindsay Oberacker, senior member of our girls varsity basketball team. We talked with Eric about being a 3-sport athlete. You were also one. You played 3 sports for 4 years with volleyball, basketball, and track, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. How were you able to do it, maintain your grade? You're also a scholar athlete. What are your viewpoints on being a 3-sport athlete? Do you recommend it after going through it? Maybe not. What are your thoughts?
I definitely recommend being a 3-sport athlete. It helps you keep your body in the best shape possible, because when you focus on just one sport, usually, you know, that's where a lot of injuries occur because of the overuse of those muscles. And I just like playing 3 sports because you get a variety of different, you know, sports and approaches to it, as where track is more of an individual and volleyball is more of a team sport. And also volleyball and basketball are different because they're just completely different games, and basketball's quick and volleyball is, you know, it's 25 points and it's the first one there. So I just really enjoy being a 3-sport athlete because of the variety.
How does volleyball lead into basketball for you? I mean, what kind of skills do you gain out of volleyball, or are they completely different where there's really not a lot?
Surprisingly, volleyball and basketball actually help each other, because in volleyball we do a lot of running and quick sprints, and in basketball you want those quick bursts of energy for sprints and steals and quick looks to the basket. So in volleyball, doing a lot of sprints definitely helps me prepare myself for the transition into basketball.
Okay, girls basketball team right now is 17-2. We're off to a great start. I believe maybe the best start we've had, at least since I've been around McDowell. What do you attribute the team's success to? I mean, we're, like I said, 17-2 is just a tremendous start. How did we get that far? I mean, what's going on with the team, and you know, what's working for you guys?
Well, I definitely think that our chemistry is one of the most important things that we have, and how unselfish we are. People are looking for each other on the court. We're not just looking to score by ourselves. In our first tournament, we noticed that our assists were shooting through the roof. So I think that's definitely one of the most important things, because you have to be able to trust your teammates, and that's one of the things that we definitely have going for us on this team this year, and that's contributed to the 17 wins we've had.
Okay, 17-2, that's 19. You got 3 extra games here. That 20-win plateau is kind of like, you know, the one to reach in high school basketball. Is that something you guys have talked about? Has Coach Mountain mentioned that at all in practice? And, you know, has that become a short-term goal now?
Definitely. We want to get as many wins as we can, and we have 3 coming up, and we've already basically clinched the region title, but we want to clinch that and then win districts and definitely go farther in the state playoffs than we ever had before. But the 20 would be, you know, an extremely awesome thing to accomplish this year, because we haven't accomplished that in a while.
Okay, you talked about assists and how your first term you guys have really saw those numbers, you know, skyrocket. One of your teammates, Allison Braun, is quickly approaching the 1,000-point mark, which is an individual goal in high school. That's, you know, the plateau to reach, and we just recently painted that up on a wall, our Trojan 1,000-point club. Is this something that's on the team's minds? I mean, you guys try to feed her the ball maybe a few extra times a game to try to get her some extra points, or is she not concerned with that at all? Or, you know, what are the team's thoughts there?
Just knowing Allison as well as I do, she's not really concerned with how many points she scores a game, but when we were watching them paint that up on the wall, we were definitely like, we want to see one of our teammates up there. So we definitely do give her the ball a lot more than most people, just because of the trust we have for her, that we're confident that if we give her the ball, you know, she's going to put it in the hoop and she's going to get her points, because she earns every single one of them. And I don't feel like we give it to her extra more. She just is that kind of aggressive person that she gets the ball more than anybody else, and she fights for it. So she earns every one of those 1,000 points that hopefully she'll get.
And that's one thing, even though it's her individual name going up there, really that is a part of the entire team. You know, for her 4 years that she played, is, you know, she's definitely would not, any of the people that are up on that wall could not have done it without their teammates, and, you know, the defense you guys play and the transition game you have, and like you said, just feeding her the ball. It is a team accomplishment, even though it's just her name that goes up there.
Definitely.
We talked about locking up the #1 seed, and now we have that. How important is that for the girls?
That's definitely important, because that puts you on top of the 3 other teams. Other teams have given us a run for our money this year, but it's going to be nice to be able to play Central for our first game, and then Strong Vincent or East will one of them will be knocked out in that first game before districts, and hopefully we clinch the district title, and if we do that, then we won't have to have that play-in game right into the state tournament, so that'll be nice. But hopefully one of them will be knocked out, and we'll get an easy win in the districts.
Now, you talked about the easy win. Is it you're going to have to beat somebody for the 3rd time in a season, probably 2 people for the 3rd time in a season? How difficult will that be? I mean, they've seen you guys play twice already, so they've got the film on you. You know, has that been on your minds at all?
It's definitely on our minds, but I don't feel like playing them 3 times in a row will affect us at all. We just go into each game playing it like we haven't played them before. We look at it as a brand new game. They might be throwing something new at us, but we're always ready for it.
You know, we're watching the senior night activities here this past week. One new thing you guys have done this year, after you went down to your holiday tournament, is when the starters are announced, typically the starter, when the individual starter is announced, they run out by themselves. But you guys have done something different in that you wait as a team. Why? What started that, and what's your thoughts on why you guys do that?
Well, we definitely, it has to do with the chemistry, especially because we're definitely a team, and although individualism is important, when all of us are called out, individually, everybody, looks at each person separate. But when we all walk out as a team, it definitely sends a powerful message to the other team that, we're sticking together and we're one team, not 5 individuals. So it's definitely a powerful message.
Nice. Okay, playoffs. They start soon. The District 10 playoffs will run, I believe, from February 18th to the 28th. We're not sure yet when we'll play, but when they start, like we asked Eric, we going to see something different from the girls' teams? Are you guys going to kick in another gear? Are you just going to keep playing the game you played all year, or do you think you have another notch to kick it up yet and to start playing your best basketball?
Well, I think we started off the year going very strong, and we haven't really brought it down anymore. So I think everybody really kicks it into a different gear in playoffs, but I think that we're to a level where kicking into gear isn't going to be that much different, since I think that we're playing some of our good basketball right now, but it's definitely going to get more intense as we start playing more higher level teams down from Pittsburgh, and even the District 10 game, we're going to have to kick it into another gear, but it's not going to be that much of a transition, seeing we're already as strong as we are.
Okay, last question for you then. How far is this team going to go in the playoffs?
I definitely think this is our best team that we've had here in a significant amount of time. Last year we lost to Mount Lebanon, and that's definitely not going to happen again this year. I think that we're going to go pretty far, and hopefully, people recognize that McDowell is a serious threat in the state tournament, and that we'll be down there and hopefully maybe be in our first championship. So
that'd be exciting. I'd be certainly making that trip down to support you guys, and best of luck to you the rest of the way, and good luck, and hopefully some fans can get out and make the trips, and wish you guys well in the playoffs. Okay, don't forget, the shows now are also on the web. You can check them out by going to the MTSD-TV, or actually MTSD.org website. That's the school district website, and on there is a Mill Creek TV link. Click on that, and then you'll be able to click on the Coach's Corner link, and you'll be able to watch these shows, so you guys can tell family and friends all over the nation that get on the internet, and you'll be able to check out the show. And if anyone has any questions at all for McDowell Athletics or any upcoming events or games, please feel free to call 835-5428, and we'd be happy to answer those questions. But I, of course, forgot the upcoming girls events, and we have those. We talked about girls basketball. They'll be going to East to play next week. That'll be at East, and then they'll also play Central away on Thursday the 12th. That'll wrap up their 2 region games there, and then they have State College coming into town for a Saturday afternoon game, 1 and 2:30. They'll be in our gym at Paul Gall, so that'll be a nice test there, a nice quad A opponent there to see how good we are going in the playoffs. Girls swimming, we talked about the records they broke there. They will be competing against Villa when the boys have prep. That's Thursday the 12th. Again, that will be at East's pool. And our bowlers are having a great year. They will be competing against Mercier's Prep. They just lost a tough one against Vincent, but they did qualify for regional, so they'll be going on to Pittsburgh soon for the Western Regional, and hopefully some of them can continue on to the state tournament from there. So again, check us out on the web at www.mtsd.org, then click on the Mill Creek TV link, and then go to the Coach's Corner there. There's the web address right there. All our shows are archived there, so you'll be able to see them all there. And again, if anyone has any questions, please contact the office at 835-5428. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back in another couple weeks with a new show here and have some playoff results. And again, we appreciate you watching. As always, go Trojans.